Okay, I'd like to call the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority Board meeting to order. It's Monday, May 7th, 2012, and it's 4:20 p.m. We're going to have a little change of order today, a little bit, to accommodate some individuals that help us along and help them with their time frame. But first of all, do we have any letters of communication to the board?
There are several in your packet. There's a couple things I need to bring your attention to. First of all, staff reports are in your packet. We'll come back to those. There's an MWBE Article 15A correspondence along with a CD. I'd ask that you take a look at your leisure. There's a legal issue going further down the packet. A letter from the railroad. Some pictures of the port, of the first blade coming into port, and relevant news articles for the period.
Where were you taking this picture from?
I took that picture from the top of Man Lift Saturday morning.
Oh, wow. That was awesome.
We're trying to get our new pictures ready to go for the trade show and
Excellent. Rick, I guess I'm going to start with you because of the session here, whatever, so I'm not sure what other things need to do today, whatever, but I'll allow the board to ask you any questions, any reports that you want to give us and how things are going, problems, issues, situations, whatever you wish to share that the public should know, then we'll let you have your...
I'll share everything I know within my expertise. No secrets with me.
No.
Whatever you'd like to ask, I'll try.
Rick, I was just, before I came to the meeting, just pulled over down ahead of Barry Street. The water issue there, is that water issue ever going to go away, or is it?
That water issue will go away. That water, Doug, as we progressed and consolidated that area, dug it out. Actually, the water has replaced the bog. Actually, the serious rainstorms we've had, the last two, there's a lot of infiltration there from the south side. That water will disappear as we come. Actually, let me interject this. Right now, the most important thing going is the temporary road that we're going to do. Not the new permanent road, which was going to be used as a temporary road. But there is another temporary road being built that's coming from the corner of the permanent road where you see the upper area that runs runs east-west. The temporary road will cut in at that corner and it'll start up under the same precipice as the permanent road will be built. That way, we're looking for an early schedule to match up with Wade has got going on these deliveries and getting these things out of here. If the weather gives us a break, the water will be gone. Don't even think twice about that. Once we pump it out of there and we get the shot rock in there, the medium stone, and we get the cover on it with the what we call the -4, you won't see it. Just like you see, just before you looked at that, the whole area was like that to begin with. It was just spread out. It's an unfortunate circumstance. It was an unforeseen circumstance. What looked like a muskrat pond turned into be a nightmare. We've conquered it. It's costly, and we're working through it.
Okay.
But it's let me say that I'm not even optimistic about it. I'm pretty positive about that. Within a few days, we'll see the temporary road taking shape coming up the hill.
Okay, thanks.
Don, Steve, anybody? Questions for Fred?
Well, I guess
I could tell you this, add to that. The key here to the permanent road, our top priority is that temporary road. Make sure them windmills are ready to go out of here on time. We'll make that. Some way, shape, or manner we'll make that, but I'll know something more positive within the next couple of days. I'd say by Thursday. On the other hand, we have made some serious changes to the better, and it's going to result in a good credit for us. on the sewer, storm and sanitary. We've flopped the storm, we've taken the cross out of both of them. So what he'll do now, instead of on top of the hill with 2 sewers, he'll be down the hill, hooking his sanitary up, going to the newest manhole and around, where it's got to run along the track up about, probably about 1,300 feet. Under those circumstances, that's going to leave a clear shot for the real problem, the storm sewer, which is 30 foot deep. So once he makes that connection up the hill, he doesn't have to worry anymore about crossing over where the sanitary is and this and that. We breached that. It's a go. The engineer, B&L, likes the idea. Wade has seen the idea. He likes. Steve Lawrence likes it. We're good to go. So there should be some real progress there within a short length of time. So to reassure you, we have, and here's some more, a little more bad news. The bog that we're dealing with, we want to get that blocked off with the temporary road that will require the shot rock and what have you. We're about halfway across there now. With a little luck and a few more trucks tomorrow, we'll make it to the bank. That would be the south bank behind Pat Sargent's house. That'll lock it in. Then we'll revert back to bringing the stone in and coming the other way. We'll keep that operation going. So we have that area dried up so we can go in and do the sewer work. On the other hand, we've got to go on top of the hill, and that's where this long stick rig, for those of you who haven't seen it, this rig will reach 60 feet on its curl. We'll bring that up on top of the hill, and we've got about maybe 50 to 75 more feet running parallel east-west along with that old bank. It would be what they want to call the fill bank that borders the railroad tracks. That's bog also. That's got to come out. The good thing this time, we dig it, we load it right in the trucks and get away with it. No sloppy mess, no this, no that. The other good part of that is we'll follow right around the corner with the shot rock. And we nowhere near as large an area as that we befell down there in the pond, what we call now the bog pond. So I'd say by the end of the week, that will be conquered, covered with fabric, covered with our what was originally called for in the base drawings. And we should be cut and starting up the hill with our temporary road. There also will open up the area from Wall Street on down to the new crossing, whereas at that point, that'll be the permanent road, and that'll let us go forward with our sanitary sewer on the other side. So all in all, I'd say within 2 weeks, there should be a very, very, very improved situation in that whole area.
Okay.
The west side, on the other side of Wall Street, is the least of our problems. That'll go very quick. But, you know, we've got to go after the tough parts first. Once that's done, I think we're going to have smooth sailing.
So they'll move the center of the manholes in the center, they'll raise them up.
Fred, we do have to make some revisions and some modifications there, but it's to our advantage.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, we're eliminating the big fella up on top of the hill side by side, and all I can tell you is, and I'll scare you with this, 35 years ago when I put that storm sewer in, I wondered what the hell I was doing in that business.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I had 4th Street closed for 3 weeks. I like to say, I told Wade the other day, I got a flagman on that job that's drawing Social Security on me now. He was on 4th Street so long. From a serious point of view, I was beyond Berry Street by maybe 20 feet west and a good 25 feet east, wide open. 30, 35 feet deep. It was a nightmare. So by eliminating that sanitary manhole on top of the hill, we've taken half the curse off from us. And Fred, you know, you live there, you've seen it all happen.
Yep.
So basically, I'm encouraging him to get busy with that sewer as soon as possible up on top of the hill. And the sooner he gets there, the better. And we'll see what happens the next day or two.
So how does your feeling with the contractor? Is he pretty good working with?
I'm beginning to feel more comfortable. I think we've got to look at more manpower. I want to talk with him about that tomorrow, what his plans are for that. We still haven't got a schedule out of him, and that's not entirely his fault, folks. Running into the situation we ran into, unforeseen circumstances and what have you, it's very difficult to put a tight schedule like that was designed for to a situation and say, well, we'll be done here today, we'll be done here tomorrow. That can't hold true under the circumstances. I think we'll see a firm schedule once we get across that lower end of the bog and start our temporary road and get the pond covered. Then we can open up our sewer work and the rest of the situation that takes place along the east side.
Did he subcontract that sewer work?
I was told that Bruce Roundpoint was going to do the sewer work. I've asked every day since, 3 or 4 days, and I can't seem to get an answer. I know they won't give me a firm answer. I know who's not going to do it, me.
But the thing is I was very clear at the DOT meetings that these subs and sub-tiers have to be approved. So we got to watch that particular area so we don't get caught here and have someone in here that was not approved by DOT performing work, and then the DOT will not accept
I
it.
can assure you, Fred, that won't happen.
No,
I have the approved list, and it's either them or Round Point. And they got to use Round Point somewhere along the line.
Well, the thing is Round Point was approved as a rental employer. He was not approved as a minority approval.
Yeah, he was reapproved in
Well,
that
that's what I'm
category.
saying. I don't know this because I haven't been down there, but
Yeah.
I'm just making you aware of what I'm aware of
Yeah,
in these DOT meetings. I just want to make sure we.
he's good to go.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Because I know that, DOT is going to sit back and let us perform and do what we're doing. Then they're going to say, no, I don't want to run into that. I had enough problems with the DOT on the rail, and that's what happened to us on the rail. We didn't know what was not acceptable to DOT. We never got a letter on any of that stuff until it was over. The project was done, and we end up in a suit and end up in lawsuits and everything else. I don't want to see any of that, and that's why I'm expressing myself here in that particular area. I'm not trying to manage your work, but
Well, no, but
Be
I can tell
cautious.
you this, the sewer work can't start until the pond is filled.
yeah, I realize.
Now, my opinion now, they say it can't start, okay, the contract. My opinion, and I'll make this short, and hopefully, if you have any more to ask, my opinion is this: go down and get your sanitary done. Get the sanitary in, forget the pond. We got the temporary road going, we want to get that open for traffic. Get your sanitary work done now, because that's down the hill. You don't have to dig on top. Once the temporary road is open, get their sanitary hooked up, then they can do their storm without any interference. And they can start from the other end and work their way east, coming up with the permanent road. So I believe, but if somebody's got to give me an answer this week from Green Island, who's going to do that work, or where's your minority contractor? And I'm going to make a stab at that tomorrow with Craig Swain, and if I can't get it from Craig, I'll go to Stan DiStefano.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, another part of the adjustment to the schedule is down to general administration, is to meet with Joe Leclerc. Joe's here. Do you want to direct us on that?
Yeah, sure. What page is that on?
I'd like to jump right over to agenda item A4. It's on page 10 of your document. This deals with the authority's insurance. And we have Mr. Joe Leclerc here from Hill and Friar Coon to answer any questions that we have. And Fred, you want to walk them through the specifics here?
Sure. Joe, would you like to come up
Sure.
to the table or to the podium? Maybe you can get right in the next. Thank you. I think what we found, and Joe, I'll turn it over to you here in a minute, but I think we found that it was difficult finding insurance this year. The company that had been carrying our insurance said they didn't want public business anymore. Markel, is that pronounced correct?
That's correct. You're right.
And so Joe went to work trying to find other carriers for us. At the same time, our fiduciary duty requires that we seek other bids, and we did that. We sought other bids from 3 other firms, and we didn't get any other bids. So my worry was that our cost was going to go way up. I think maybe that was Joe's worry too. I didn't express my worry to him. I told him to make sure it didn't happen, and he did his best. So Joe, would you help us with these numbers?
Sure. Just to take it back, the Port Authority's got had a 30-year history with Travelers Insurance Company for a lot of those years. And about 4 or 5 years ago, we switched to a different division of Travelers, municipal division. That was on for 2 years, and then they didn't just not want Ogdensburg. They got out of the Bridge Authority business. So we found Markel, and Markel gave us 2 years. And knock on wood, we really didn't have any claims issues. But they came out in January, and I called Fred in January and said, Markel's all done with us. They're not going to write us or any other Bridge and Port Authority. So, like Fred said, we went to 37 different companies for different pieces. And we were down to the wire. And I explained to them, 4-1's a busy commercial date. Most of the people we're talking to at 4-1, we didn't have any commitments from anybody that's willing to write the insurance. It was after that we kind of got things lined up and put together. But at the end of the day, when Wade and Fred and I met, we were able to increase our property coverages substantially. And we had some increases on the port, but that was a result of our contracts with the wind parks coming in, because we had to buy higher limits to satisfy those contracts. But I think overall, correct me if I'm wrong, Fred, but I think it was like $6 grand or $7 grand maybe was the increase.
Yeah, it was, I think about 75, 700, something like that.
Yeah,
It's about 5.5%.
Yeah, and I mean, none of us want to see any increases. I understand that, and that's why we went to every market we could get to. But I know, I mean, I do some work with some other bridge authorities, and they're in the same situation. Markel was there, and they're gone. So,
What's the reason for that?
well, it stems back, Fred. It's just the appetite of what they have, what kind of business they want to look at. But you remember we had a bridge come down, what, 5, 6 years ago? We were up here talking about it.
Yeah.
Up until that bridge came down, if I talked to you about a bridge coming down, you'd be like, come on, that's probably not going to happen. But guess what? That was 5 years ago. Our bridge is 5 years older, and so is everybody else's. And the amount of premium that they generate, they're just not willing to take the risk that something like that could even possibly happen. Our port's a separate issue. We still insure that piece with Travelers. The airport's a separate issue. We got a separate policy over there. And it's the bridge liability. The industrial park is not much of an exposure, or is the office buildings. It's the bridge. And it's just a matter of appetite for business. Now, this market has been tightening up the last year or so. I got a feeling we're going to be in this marketplace for a couple, 3 years. And Fred, I guess, I don't mean to look at you, but we've been working together a long time. You can remember years back, even when we were with Travelers, there was times we got hit with 30% increases and had nowhere to go. I mean, that does happen. So, the market that we've got right now, Wade and Fred made a decision to take it off the 4/30 date and stretch it to 7/31. Gets us by a couple of busy commercial dates, but also locks our pricing in for. We tried to get a 24-month lock-in, and nobody wanted to talk about that because they know what we're doing. We're just trying to lock them down. So we went to a 15-month. So we'll be renewing at the end of July when the rest of our insurance due. We'll have everything together there. So I guess I'm up to, if you got any questions or thoughts or concerns. I know we've had a lot of work lately with Wade and Fred getting our windmill parts coming and going, and those can be undertaking quite a deal. But the market we're in right now, I expect it again next year. But like I said, we stretched it out a little bit, so I think we'll be in a good position. And what we do is usually probably 120 days out, maybe 150 days out. I call Fred and Wade up, and we sit down and talk about what the market looks like, what we can expect. We did that this year. Unfortunately, we had no insurance to talk about until, usually we like to come in 30 days early, so you got time to look out at the board. It just couldn't happen this year. I mean, that would be our normal procedures. to bring them in. So you got time to look at them, you got time to ask questions.
Joe, the question I was thinking in my mind here is there like any 5-year contracts or anything like that, so you can tie in for 5 years so the company knows? Is there anything else like that?
Well, Wade asked that same question.
Did you
He
really?
said, yeah, he didn't ask for 5, he asked
We've
for
been working
2.
together too long already.
When pricing's going down,
Yeah.
everybody wants to give you a lock because they're going to lock you in at the higher prices. When prices are going up, nobody wants to talk about it. We're in
Oh.
a situation right now where it's starting to inch up a little bit, but we did get 15 months. So I mean, I think we got a pound of flesh getting that much out of them right now. And then, you know, as the year goes on, I'm looking at a couple other authorities we're working with. I'll see what unfolds there. And
Are these authorities, bridge authorities you're working with?
yeah, yeah.
And the significance of that 15-month, it puts all our insurance on, it puts our, the general stuff that you see here, plus our bridge insurance, on the same contract. It aligns the
Well, there-
frame.
But just looking at this and talking openly here, it looks like they're gonna end up forcing us to go self-insured. And we're gonna look for some other way, it just seems to be headed that way.
When you're in a tight market, I agree with you 110%. It looks like that. We get through this year and get through next year, I think you'll see all of the insurance companies have had a lot of loss experience with all these sudden storms we've had with the floods, and I mean, that's kind of an
Well,
abnormal year.
Yeah, and these bridges, these types of bridges are different than the bridges over highways and over
Yeah.
smaller rivers. But, I mean, insurance companies are very smart. I mean, they're out there in the market and they know that the construction and the infrastructure of America is not being rebuilt.
Yeah.
There's nothing been done to it.
Yeah.
And they're sitting there going, you know, just like you just said, something's gonna happen,
Mhm.
you know? I mean, it's, the other side of the lake here, they just dropped a bridge in the river last year and they're putting up a new one.
Yeah.
Well,
And I found out it's 1.25 inches off,
Yeah.
but the height, it's off 1.25 inches, so we're not sure if they're gonna shim it or not. Can you imagine that? And I can't drink anymore when they told me that. But it gets it's getting down to a place, Joe, where they're pushing us into that corner, or else they're pushing us for us to pick up the front of that liability. In other words, more deductible up front,
Yep.
and they'll be in on the back. I mean, that's what it's looking like to me.
And I agree with that, what you're looking at right now. But another year from now or 2 years from now, it could be a different scenario. We might find some competitive markets. And what happens at the end of the day that we don't get privy to is insurance companies sit behind closed doors
Oh,
and
yeah.
they look at their loss ratios at the end of the year. Right now, most of them are 109 to 150 and 118%. So that means every buck they're bringing in, they're spending $10 to $18. They're going to make some decisions. Now, they have quite a bit of reserve set up, and if we get a clear year without some storms and things like that, life changes. And when the ratios get down closer to 105, they make up the difference with investments and things like that, and life changes. So, you know, you can always look at large deductible. Right now, where our general liability premium is, it doesn't leave us a lot of room to go large deductible. You got to remember, you're taking exposure at $1 million, $2 million, and the premium for that is about $52,000. I mean, that's not nickels, but God, if we self-funded $500,000, we have a claim, we're all going to be sitting there looking at each other like, why did we ever do that? So I mean, if you can look back at the history of the Bridge Authority, just your snapshot alone, it's been great. Knock on wood, we haven't had
Yeah.
many losses at all. But the problem is, if we do have a loss, it's going to be big, and that's what the insurance companies look at. So, you know, we've looked at self-insured things. We've done a number of different things, and we're available to look at that. But I know what the premium size you're at right now. We're going to sit here at the end of the day, take a look at that exercise, and you know, we can always assume more deductible. You can assume $25,000 or $50,000 sometimes, and shave some money.
What is your process when you're looking for bids? I mean, like, say the contract is gonna end 6 months, 3 months, 2 months before, and then you start, are you in a constant process where you're looking that far ahead? I mean,
Yeah, we could be, like right now, we're 12 months out. You know,
Right.
the real process, the insurance companies are not going to even look at our submissions if we send them something that was 6 months to renewal date. They'll just put it on the shelf. So the timing is critical to get in there, like around 120 days. Our normal meet date for that 430 was November, December, just to talk. What are we seeing? What are we looking at? and then we start working. This year, Markel, the insurance companies are bound by law to let us know 60 days out if they're not going to renew something, or if the price is going up over 10%, which Markel called us. Yeah, Markel called us in January and said, we're telling you right now that no money, nothing, we're done. So that's when Fred and I talked, and I said, look, we're going to go to everybody. Because everybody we talked to, we ended up with Lexington, our general liability, and Lexington is a division of AIG Chartis. We got declinations from 2 intercompanies in there and said we're not going to do it, and then we worked and we called a couple of the authorities and found out that Lexington was the right place, called, and the guy says, yeah, we'll do that. But I mean, there's a lot of legwork involved to do that with a difficult, you got a difficult exposure because you got a lot of stuff going on, and that's what makes it tough. And go ahead.
I would point out that the premiums that you see in front of you are annual, and they will change. We haven't had time to get those. I think Melissa told me they would be available by the end of the day today.
Yep.
So we will come back next month to extend this to the additional
15 months.
to the full 15 months.
15 months.
Yeah, but today, we needed to get this approved because it expired April 30th, and this needs to be, yeah. So there's a lot going on.
So this isn't, what we're looking at is not the 15-month, you're saying?
No, this is the
12 months.
It's 12
So we
months.
couldn't,
You can compare it with the prior years,
Yeah.
and you would see that if you didn't have the 2 wind turbine extras there.
7,000, 8,000.
7,300, 7,400, something like that.
If you divide those numbers that you have in front of you by 12 and then add on 3, it's going to be a proration. There's no extra cushion or extra money charged in there. It's just
Is the extra cost of the umbrella, is that because of the cost of the turbine insurance? Or is that
That's-
just because the umbrella is now used, or?
No, you see that on the listing there, it's, you see that as toll / MOLL in brackets wind turbines, and the bumper chute due to the wind turbines in the listing there.
Those 2 are the only 2?
Yeah.
Yes,
Of the wind
that's correct.
turbine. I was just
Why-
wondering if the umbrella covered that too, and that's what the raise was, but you've answered the question. So basically, that is what the majority of the raise is in the umbrella insurance.
Why is that, Joe?
Of course, I think everybody else figured it out already.
So what would your estimate be for another 3 months? What are we looking at next month? You're saying you're gonna come back next month with the 15, with the 15-month,
Well, I
what's
think
your
what
estimate?
Joe just said, that it would be divided by 12 times 15.
Yeah.
Just have to
Uh,
prorate it.
It's just gonna be prorated, but I didn't wanna bring that because we didn't have that.
Okay.
That's what we think, or that's what we thought, and that's what you know now,
that's
Joe?
what. Yeah, I've got. Excuse this.
Oh, that's
I ran out the door and got this, but the package, which is your Philadelphia, the automobile, and all that stuff, is going to be $90,736. That's a 15-month premium.
On which one?
That's the property,
Oh,
auto, equipment. The umbrella is $15,965. And the general liability is $66,950. Those probably aren't to the penny, but they're just quick snapshot look. The marina stuff, we're waiting for an answer on that today. I don't have that yet. And the airport, which surprisingly enough, the airport, I can remember doing business here years ago when the airport used to cost us 12, 15 grand a year. And it's at $5 grand, but we just don't have an answer back from them yet, but that's gonna be a small piece of the pie.
Okay.
Well, you remember, Joe, we did a really hard look at the airport and things, and we changed and took a lot of things
Yeah.
that shouldn't have even been insured.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
Yeah. And that's what we try to do every year. I mean, to control the costs, we have to make business decisions as to what we do and what we don't, and try to keep the insurance on the higher end stuff. And
What did our,
you know, that's what, just talking on that, Joe, is another important issue there for us on this, is the airport is, we may need your support on the, is we want to get water lines out there for fire protection.
okay,
Because really, we don't have city water out there.
all right,
And that's one of the projects that we're working on, so I want to let you know that
that's
we
good.
may need you people to, because it'd be better for you as the water.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
well, I was almost not in the same line, but we just rehabbed the bridge.
Yep.
Did that have an attractive feature that we've done that type of work?
Well,
Or just that,
yeah, what happens is they take a look and they want to know what the history, they want to know the engineering and everything on it. So the fact that we just put a lot of money into it maybe lets them make the decision to go ahead. This is kind of a go, no-go kind of situation. If we hadn't done that and they look at the age of it and they do all those studies, I mean, you know, the bridge inspection report looks like that. They go through that and then they make a decision whether they're going to do general liability or not.
So they do get that specific to look at the inspection reports
Oh, yeah.
then?
They look at who made it, who designed it. They know they have people sitting in the back room, their actuaries, that just figure out what broke, what didn't break, and then they make a decision based on that.
The wind turbine project, how long is that expected to last
Should be complete by December of this year.
of this year? So is the insurance for the wind turbines going to stop in December, and then that would, or do we have to do 15 months? You understand what I?
Yeah,
am
that's a
I
good
asking
question. How was that
question?
handled,
I
Joe?
guess everybody's kind of looking
well,
at
you
me.
wanted, if it's done, the project's over.
Yeah,
then
why
it's
should you be
Yeah.
paying insurance?
Yeah, the
Good question.
the port liability, it is a good question. The port liability goes by number of visits of ships, and they take all that into account. Now, you normally, a year here is 4 or 5 ships at the most, but now because of this, we got quite a few more coming. So they rate it off from that, but, you know, this bumper chute you see here, we put that in place because of requirements for the contract. So when that contract is done, we can discuss and we can elect to not carry it. And I haven't got the contract in front of me. I don't remember there was any restrictions to carry that for any length of time afterwards.
I don't think there
That-
was,
all right.
but this other one is based on the number of ships coming.
Yeah.
So now that we know that there's more ships coming in this year, that's for the whole year.
That's
Even
for the whole
though
year.
it's not specific to the project, it's based on the number of ships coming in.
So
So
that
what,
number-
what was the difference between that premium with the 5 ships now with the 17 ships? What was the
It's like
difference?
24 grand, I think.
that's-
And that also included
that
the bumper
number
chute.
is-
Yeah.
Joe, one of the things that I've seen advertised on TV where insurance companies do this to make it safe or whatever it want to be. Do they give us any recommendations to tell us as the Port Authority we should do this, that, whatever, to make it safer or do certain things to, do they do that?
Normally, through the years, we've had travelers up here a lot, and they have done
Yeah,
that.
that umbrella, yeah. There's
Yeah. Lexington probably won't, but we have in-house people that we've had up here. I don't know Wade or Fred if you've met Ev, but he's been up here through the years. You know, he's in tune with OSHA regulations and things like that, and he can kind of give a general overview of what's going on, and we can set that up and have him come up. And we do that because you're clients of ours at no cost. I
Yeah,
mean,
we
that-
have
bring
some
that.
general risk management type conversations throughout the year as well. I mean, one of the things that you'll see the bollards that are now up in front of the generator outside of the building
Mhm.
here
Yeah.
due to the natural gas line.
Sure.
That's one of those things that, you know, until you get a risk management person looking at it, gee, we never thought of doing that,
Yeah.
but that's a
Yeah.
very important thing.
So, yeah, we have that available.
I mean, we're trying to protect ourselves, and they're trying to protect, so we don't have to pay out anything. So well, it works. both
Everybody's
ways.
on the same thing. You don't want the claims, and they don't want them
They
either.
don't-
So.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
what, you pay
Yeah.
for that service with your insurance policy, that's
Yeah.
good, that's
Mhm.
good.
And we have now brought Philadelphia into our fold with the property and land marine and the auto. And Philadelphia has a very strong web presence. They do a lot of municipal work and a lot of individual. And Philadelphia is owned by Tokyo Marine, which is one of the largest insurance companies in the world. So, I mean, they have strong financial backing. And it was kind of a,
Yeah, we could. Do we want to go with a resolution right now, Wade?
That's entirely your discretion.
Okay, well, first of all, any more questions for Joe? Any thoughts?
I'd just like to, on a personal note, Joe, I'd like to say thank you for the assistance on an issue we ran into here Friday night at 8:30 p.m. I appreciate that greatly, getting us back on track, and thank you for that.
well, we try to partner. We don't just sell insurance and walk away. We partner and try to partner with our people. And
What happened at 8:30? I mean, you didn't tell me nothing.
Tell you in the executive session.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh.
it's all good.
Oh, good, that's what
It
it is.
has to be, Joe, your hand on it. Well, Mr. Chairman, I make the motion to pass this resolution and get on with business.
Okay, have a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? No, there's no discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank
Good
you,
luck,
again.
Joe.
Thank you, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Keep your cell phone on.
I do.
Thank you.
He does.
He does. He does.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go back to approval of board minutes, if any.
None this time.
None? Okay.
We actually do, Doug returned the March 22nd special board.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
minutes, so we can approve those.
Okay,
I make a motion to approve them.
I'll second.
second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Let's do staff reports.
Okay, in your packets, in your red read file there, at the top, you'll see the staff reports this month. As you know, it's been an extremely busy month. There's been a lot of things going on at the port, but that's not everything we're doing. There's a wide variety of things. As you know, the Port of Prescott, the new station opened. It's a state-of-the-art facility, absolutely beautiful. Held discussions with the Canadian version of DOT regarding the bridge signage on routes 401 and 416. We're going to have a signage plan to us this month. St. Lawrence County Economic Development Committee meeting, attended that during the month. In the Executive Chamber and Empire State Development has some issues with the authority's MWBE policy and compliance targets, and the disparity study is included in your read file. We continue to make advocacy efforts on the approach span. That remains a priority. Digital sign quotes were obtained for the bridge. That's before the board tonight for action. We have continued outreach to the financial contacts, and we're hoping to restart the authority's investment program soon. And we're also waiting on feedback on the FHWA application for the bridge. It's one of 3 applications for the state of New York. At the Port of Ogdensburg, as I mentioned, it's been a very busy month at the marine terminal, but some things outside of the marine terminal are also worthy of mentioning. Ogdensburg International Airport was profiled on Canadian National News, the regional news, CBC Radio 1. It was an excellent promotion, not only of the airport, but also the Ogdensburg area. In addition, Cape Air ridership's up 64% versus prior year, and the airport master plan is going to be completed by June of 2012. Now, that is delayed by a month from the original timeline. I need to thank our outside agencies, the folks that have provided us with letters of support, resolutions of support. Through our coordination, their efforts, and our efforts, the $630,000 gap on the Port Access Road was filled, $450,000 through an ESD grant. St. Lawrence Valley Redevelopment Authority, $95,000 grant. St. Lawrence County IDA, $87,000 loan. As you heard, the project's commenced.